there, YouTubers. This is the fourth episode of the Inexperienced Experts podcast. I am joined tonight by Mr. FG.
Howdy.
We may have someone else, like Bub, joining later on tonight. I think Musica is busy. And Legendary Skittles never pops on.
Maybe we might see him eventually. One of these times.
Yeah, one day. Lonely. I'm so lonely. So tonight, we do have at least one discussion. Well, actually, two discussions. We're going to discuss our War Thunder. A little bit of War Thunder, possibly. But first, we're going to discuss a little story. Fat Electrician covered this. He's what is it, Whiskey 68? 68 Whiskey. YouTuber. You can find him at Fat Electrician. He did a video about this, but basically, these guys are the Eager Beavers and Old 666.
Basically a story about bombing.
Yes, this
in
is
World War II.
This is a story about a pilot who was so crazy and went so ham flying a B-17 that most people took one look at him after flying with him, threw up, kissed the ground, and vowed to never fly with him again.
And that's because they never played War Thunder back then. He had an early copy. That's why.
Yeah, see,
they didn't know how modern bombers flew.
Well, so because of this, I actually found out about another story. I know I'm going off topic, but so you know how they claim in War Thunder you can't bludgeon another fighter with your landing gear because that's not quote unquote realistic.
In War Thunder or in real life?
In War Thunder. They claim it's not real. They claim you shouldn't. It's not quote unquote realistic.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There was a U.S. fighter pilot. Don't know the name. Don't know nothing about this. I just heard about this. But apparently, he's trying to shoot down this Japanese bomber and runs out of ammo. So he's just like, you know what? No matter what, I'm taking down this bomber. So what does he proceed to do? Bludgeon the bomber to death with his landing gear. So, yeah, no. But, anyways, getting back on topic, Jay Zemer, he actually originally, before anything else, wanted to be an engineer. I can't remember what it's called. I have terrible memory tonight. But basically, this is the predecessor to the Jeep Willie. He fixed this thing up, fixes up the engine and everything while he's at military school. Gets this thing running better than it ever ran before. Even the engineers were like, we couldn't get this running good enough. And the school's like, no, you're not allowed to have cars. So he's like, hey, I built this. And they're like, oh, okay, you built it. It's up to our specs. You can keep it. But anyways, he makes it, and I think at some point he's seen a fighter pilot fly military school or something, and this inspired him to be like a fighter pilot. So he's like, hey, Mr. Army Enlister, because as we both know at this point in time, there's no Air Force, just the Army Air Division. But anyways, he's like, hey, I would like to be a fighter pilot. And they're like, you're taller than 5 foot. No. But you can be a bomber pilot. So he's like, cool. So he goes to flight school to be a bomber. He's doing maneuvers in these B-17s. Like, he's flying a small P-51. Best pilot ever in the school, at least in his class. Meets the best bombardier. I'm trying to think what this guy's name was. But anyways, he meets this bombardier guy. They go to Australia. 5th Division, the Forgotten Division, because they were just really doing containment warfare, not actual warfare. Well, actual warfare, but not like trying to fight the enemy back or nothing. They were just keeping them from attacking Australia. So this guy just fills in wherever the heck he can go because he's the new guy. He's green. No one wants a greenhorn pilot flying in a war that just started that we have bombers getting shot down left, right, and center by the Japanese Zero. So he does whatever, and finally, on one of these flights, one of the pilots is like, you know what? I'll let you be co-pilot. We trust you. So they let him be co-pilot, and he flies this plane into combat so good that everyone gets sick. I'm pretty sure the waist gunners were leaning their heads out the windows on the way back. Get some of that air. They land. Everyone gets out. They're kissing the ground. They're done.
I
Oh,
mean,
man.
hey, sometimes you're flying so good they just make you kiss the ground. And just because you get a little sick just doesn't mean that you might not just be cut out for it, you know? Some people's
Yes.
flying styles are a little more aggressive than the rest, but that just makes for a good pilot. Also, you came back alive, so I don't want to hear it.
Yes. So this guy is like signature move. Jay Zemer's signature move was so the way the Japanese B-17s, they were getting shot down left, right, and center by Japanese Zeros because the one major flaw they had, and I think we discussed this before, was so these are B-17Bs, the first version of the mass-produced B-17, and at this point they did not have a nose gunner yet. So the way the Japanese would take out the planes is they would basically zoom right past up behind the B-17, fly in front of it, flip into a U-turn, and then basically play chicken with the B-17 and shoot out the pilots because no gunner could hit them at that point. So Jay Zemer in the regular B-17B, when they were still flying Army-issued B-17s, his signature move was to play chicken with the Japanese Zeros and then pull up so that his ball turret could just rip these Japanese Zeros to shreds. And again, this guy's flying a B-17 like it's a fighter. He is pulling just about as tight as a fighter in a bomber.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want you to imagine. I want you to imagine your 747 pilot flying like he's an F-18.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of I don't think the fasten your seatbelt and trade tables might not do so well in that situation.
That's the kind of guy we're talking about here. But yeah, so anyways, they do so good at these volunteer runs that finally the Army's like, you know what, we're putting you on your first permanently assigned run. And you're going to be the first bomber because you're too good. We can't lose you. So you're going to be safe. So they fly in, and they were told to attack. It's basically considered like an officers' club. These officers were being entertained by Japanese women, pretty much. So that kind of club, and they were pretty much told to bomb this. And the bombardier, let me actually look up his name. But anyways, the bombardier, he's looking at, okay, Joseph Sarnowski was the bombardier, but basically he's studying this map, and everyone's just thinking he's super cautious, maybe looking for, ground AA, whatever. No, he was actually spending the entire night looking for a different target because it just didn't feel right killing innocent, Japanese women that were just entertaining officers and not actually part of the war. So he actually finds another target. So they're flying up here. Not what I do. But anyways, they're flying up. They get ready to drop their bombs and what am I thinking? Okay, so they get ready to drop their bombs, and so in the B-17, they had where you could swap the controls from the pilot to the bombardier. You probably already noticed.
Hmm.
So when they came in for the bombing runs, the bombardier was the one flying the plane, just so that way he could line up and get the perfect, spot, drop bombs wherever he wanted at. Um, so Jay gives the controls over to Joseph, and then they're like, "What?" Because Joseph is flying way off course, not even where they're supposed to be at. And then finally, they fly so far away, he drops the bombs. This, I think it's a 100-pound bomb they drop. Next thing, there's just massive explosion. Uh, and everyone wondering what the heck's going on. Well, it turns out Joseph, studying that map, he found pretty much an ammo depot that had a huge amount of ammunition for the Japanese Navy. Um, Blew it all up, the entire facility.
Well,
So
I mean, that's one way to do it. Just go for an ammo depot. I mean, sure, it might be a hard target, but as soon as you hit, you get the 4th of July.
so they fly back, and Army Command is like, "All right, what the heck did you guys do? You didn't hit your target. We're not giving you awards because if we give you awards, we'd have to admit that you're insubordinate." So they basically tell them to do the run again, which is going to be deadly now because now the enemy knows that they're bombing there. Again, Joseph Cernosky stays up all night studying this entire map. And so they fly in, and again, Jay gives the controls over to Joseph, and they fly off course again. Uh, he drops bombs this time, and there's another gigantic explosion. He hit an aviation fuel depot for the Japanese Air Division.
Jeez.
Which at this point, the Army's like, "You're grounded. You're not flying anymore." So they're like, "All right, well, if you're not going to give us a plane, we're going to make our own." And I'm sure someone spit on the floor and walked out. But they found this plane. It's a B-17. It's all shot up. There's no way this thing is going to fly again. Like it's scrapped. It's in the boneyard. Only thing that's even like recognizable in it is the lady in the front with the letter Lucy and the tail number being 266, which is where the old 666 comes from. And then she's also known as Lucy. But the whole reason why it's known as 666 is they never finished the nose art because they were doing so many bombing runs. But these guys got so good that the military at this point is like, "Hey, we're going to be doing this landing at Guadalcanal with these Marines, and we need some camera footage of the reef so we know where the reefs are at, so our Marines know where to land at." So. And I mean, this is the most deadly mission you could get in World War II, because pretty much you got to fly straight in one line at like a lower than somewhat altitude during the day, which means that every fighter can see you, every AA placement on the ground can see you, and you cannot move 1 degree in any direction because then it just gets ruined. And you can't have any fighters with you because they might ruin the footage too.
That's
So
crazy.
So they're on their own on pretty much a suicide mission, and they do it. At this point, as they're doing it, the Japanese Zeros take off, and these aren't just like normal Japanese Zero pilots. These are Japanese Zero pilots the Japanese brought in because they were like, "All right, our Japanese Zero are getting brought down by a B-17 flying like a fighter craft out there. Let's bring in the aces. Bring in the guys that are pretty much experts at bringing down B-17s at this point. They had like a combined in their squadron, a combined like 30 kills. This is a 24 plane squadron, so pretty decent. Uh, they take off, and I think they managed to shoot down 7 of these Japanese Zeros. Unfortunately, the nose gunner died. But the nose gunner and Jay were both awarded Medal of Honors. because they got that footage, which is pretty much it's been single-handed. We pretty much they've said the whole reason why Guadalcanal was such a success was because of the footage that the Eager Beavers got.
That's cool.
So yeah, no, they did something big. It doesn't seem that big, but it's a pretty major action. Which I think he lived up until 2007. He died in 2007.
Wow. Dude lived for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, like I said in War Thunder, Jay Zemer is my spirit animal. As you've seen, and anyone who was watching our War Thunder podcast, I fly bombers like they're fighters.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm in the middle of fighting somebody, and all of a sudden I just see a nice sized bomber just fly through and nearly clip off all the paint on everybody.
I like that out last night, man. I'm flying the bomber. And they're getting chased by someone, and somehow one of my gunners manages to just snipe that pilot. And then I get 3 more assists with like critical hits, and at that point, that's when the enemy team's like, "Oh, you know what? Maybe we should take down the bomber that's doing stupid maneuvers in the middle of our formation." And then they proceeded to all swarm on me.
They're like, this guy's too good. We need to get him out of here.
Well, I'm like,
Yeah, but I don't understand how you and Jaeger, both of you two just kept like freaking taking down like half the team just by being in a bomber and doing the most ridiculous things.
What can I say? It's
How
not.
do you know?
See, it's not about what is it meant to do. It's about what can I do.
Mm-hmm.
The only limits of your aircraft are the limits you put in your mind.
Oh, sweet. So that weird looking red line called VNE that says literally that I'll rip my wings off. Oh yeah, I should totally ignore that.
Yes. You only rip your wings off if you think you'll rip your wings off.
I'll have to keep that. I'll tell my instructor that.
Man. See, it's a good thing, because I have a feeling if I was alive during World War II, I'd probably be like, let me be a bomber pilot. And I'd probably be kicked out of the military instantly, because I'd be like, hey, you're making too many men sick. Oh, man, this does make me wonder how this turned out if, the Eager Beavers got sent to, like, the European theater. If it turned out, any different with old 666.
May have. You never know.
I'm just thinking, just because, we got stories like Charlie Brown and that other guy. The German, you probably know the one I'm talking about, the German pilot that escorted the B-17 back.
Oh, yeah. That was, they even became friends after the war, too.
Yeah.
Went fishing.
Well, a lot of people, like, talk about that, and the thing is, like, we got to remember, the Germans, even though they were the Nazis and they were the bad guys, the individual soldiers were still people. And Germany at that point, like, everyone's like, oh, well, I wouldn't have fought. And it's like, you say that now, but it's kind of different when you got someone holding a gun pretty much to your family and saying you're going to fight for me or else your daughter's going to get it,
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure 90% of people out there are people would even do it if the gun was pointed at them, and there's some that wouldn't, but it's just, it's different. And now there are definitely some of them that were 100% psychos and were in it because they got to do stuff.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say. I mean, war is an ugly place, no matter which way you put it.
But it's like, look at the American side. They were Americans and British and all that. Or like Mad Jack, I think that's his name. Have you heard of Mad Jack?
No, I don't think I have.
This guy was a British soldier who was charging in the battles in World War II, armed with a long sword and a long bow. and somehow was doing fairly well.
Yeah, it's about the person behind the weapon.
But
You can run in there with a Bowie knife if you wanted to. Doesn't matter if you have the tactics to pull it off. Then you're gonna do better than someone with an actual gun
but
who doesn't know how to use it.
I just want you to imagine this: you're an American soldier. You just got dropped off. D-Day's happened. You're in Europe, and just a Scotsman comes running out of the bushes. I think he was Scottish, but a Scotsman comes running out of the bushes in a friggin' kilt, carrying a longbow and a sword, and tells you, "Don't go that way. It's dangerous." What are you thinking?
Not to go that way. Just be like, yeah, screw that. Well, if the guy with the sword and the kilt says don't go that way, and he's armed with that, I'm just not even gonna bother.
These Americans are like looking at each other like, "This dude's crazy." Oh, well, they say, what was I was thinking? Yeah, there's a so there's a meme, and it's probably I'm trying to think what it is, but basically, pretty much this guy was talking about like it's a joke from World War II about like how to tell like what soldiers or what, and I think it was like if you want to know which nation a soldier belongs to, fire a shot over their heads and see their reaction. And it's like if firing a shot over their heads is met with a full-on tank force and they're German,
Mm-hmm.
if firing shot over their heads is met with a full-on infantry charge, they're British. If a firing a shot over their heads is met with a light flag, then they're French.
Dang.
And then if you fire a shot over their heads and then nothing happens for 2 minutes, and then your position is blown apart by artillery, they're American. I was like, I figured that. I was like, man, America was that way back then. Well, I mean, there was a good reason. 'Cause there is a friend of mine. You're actually not my only friend that is a pilot, believe it or not.
That's so.
A friend of mine is a pilot that flies a American bomber. I can't remember exactly what aircraft, but he flies a bomber jet.
Ooh.
Not the big one of the smaller ones. I'm not exactly sure what small, like the fighter style one. So I'm not sure which one it would be. Though I haven't talked to him for a while, so I don't even know if he's still in the Air Force or not.
Still, that's pretty cool.
But yeah, no, he flew a bomber, and I just remember this because he was telling me about So when they were at training, like one of the training things they got trained in was how to eject out of a jet.
Mm-hmm.
And his best bud decided to not attend that class and just go and hang out at a pool party instead. And somehow the military still threw him in a jet in actual combat. And they were over in Iraq. And as they were over in Iraq, his buddy had actually gotten shot down and still is alive, but because he did not attend that class, he did not know how to eject. So crashed and
And
burned.
he still lived. Oh.
Nope. Um, Unfortunately, did not make it. But he was pretty much telling me that of like, hey, attend all your classes because it might save your life.
Yeah, no kidding. They're there for a reason.
But he was talking to everything, so like he brought in his helmet and all that, and then he was I can't remember. He even told me what it's, but I think the one he flew is the one that drops, the little golf ball style bombs.
Golf ball style bombs. That's
Yeah,
new.
they're like, so they're not like normal. Like I'm sure they're probably in a bigger container, but they're like the size of golf balls, and
Oh,
so like
cluster bombs?
cluster. Yeah,
Didn't those get like? Didn't those get counted as like a whatchamacallit, a crime of war or something like that?
maybe they did, but I know in Iraq we were using them left, right, and center. Apparently, that was maybe they didn't. I don't know what. I don't think they're cluster. I can't think of what they're called now, but basically, they're like little bombs that are like golf balls, and they get dropped individually as bombs from the aircraft. But so like instead of having like one big giant bomb hitting like one area, you got like a bunch of little bombs spread across an area. Um,
Yeah, apparently it's considered a war crime.
maybe it is. Maybe yeah.
Cluster ban. Let's see. Yes, cluster bombs are considered banned in war under the Convention of Cluster Munitions, an international treaty that prohibits the use of production, stockpile, and transfer of cluster munitions. Meaning countries have signed and ratified the treaty are legally obligated not to use them in war. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what
That's not
they.
good.
I don't know what they were. They might not have been cluster bombs. I just know they were smaller and they didn't like drop in like a big package and then spread apart. They were like in like little packages and then just got dropped over an area.
Like,
Um,
oh, I'm trying to think. After they dropped and like little fins come out the back of them that kind of like slowed them down almost.
I don't know. From what he was telling me, they just drop as little. They're not really meant for accuracy, more for just going across the wide area. Um, yeah, I don't think they're cluster bombs, but yeah, no, but it's more for say there's an enemy position and you need that like you got a machine gunner because like the thing is like from what U.S. soldiers I've talked to told me about with Iraq was you don't want to charge out where a machine gunner is at because 50 cal is going to beat Kevlar. And so
Yeah.
it's better to play it safe and just bomb where the 50 cal machine gun's at instead of charging out and just getting needlessly slaughtered.
Yeah, that's not great at all.
So either artillery or strike though, yeah. And he wasn't very fond of the A-10.
I wonder why.
You
Couldn't
was
be anything to deal with like all the friendly fire incidents.
like, don't get me wrong, the A-10 is a awesome aircraft
Yeah.
in principle. The main problem I've heard a lot of people talk about with it, and I kind of agree on this, is it's got a more of a primitive targeting system. It's not AKA just a firing scope.
I mean, you just
So,
go off what you can see
and
and hope it's correct.
unfortunately, in the craziest of war, it's kind of hard when you're way up in the air to tell friend from foe.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so which I mean, the Galley's friggin' awesome because you're talking about a gun that has such a high recoil. Which you probably already knew this, but if the A-10 fires its gun for too long, the aircraft will crash due to a lack of lift.
Hmm.
That is how much the recoil is on that gun. It overpowers the engines. Think about that for
I
a
mean,
second.
the gun is the size of a car.
Made by General Electric.
I mean, they literally designed the plane around the gun. That's why if you look on the front of the A-10, for the landing gear is actually placed off-centered because they put the gun in first, then the landing gear.
Well, and that's, and kind of funny you say that because, like, battleships are actually built that way, believe it or not. From, like, World War II.
Yeah.
The ship is actually built around the gun. Because, like, a lot of people think, oh, maybe, no, the gun is built first, then the ship is built. That's why the U.S. actually has a barrel for an 18-inch gun, because they were planning to build a battleship with 18-inch guns until someone realized the physics that a 16-inch does just as much damage as an 18-inch shell and has a higher velocity and uses like half the black powder.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I love it how everyone talks about like, well, the Yamato had bigger, and it's like, don't get me wrong, the Yamato's awesome. Hey, Mizuka.
Yo,
The
what's up?
oh, enough of
Welcome back.
much. Talking
Yo,
about war machines.
I completely forgot about this podcast, but I just decided to join because I didn't want to dip on y'all. So I'm
Glad
here
you're
now.
here.
Oh man,
Are you
maybe
guys about to end it?
no. We actually, how long have we been? Let me see how long. I don't even think we've been streaming for an hour yet.
Yeah, doesn't
Oh
seem
shit.
like it.
No, only like half an hour. So try to go at least an hour, maybe 2 hours, just to get some content in there.
Okay.
You have anything you wish to discuss?
Uh, not really. I'm kind of just chilling right now.
So we're talking War Machines, maybe War Thunder.
Is that like a game series?
Yeah, I know FG plays it. Uh,
Yeah, I've never heard of it really.
capture the D point.
Hmm?
What kind of game is it?
Uh, it's I guess you could say more like an arcade, like arcade battle game.
You talking about War Thunder or War of Tanks?
War Thunder. So it's like
Oh yeah.
arcade with like realistic, but like even realistic's like arcade almost, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean it's just okay, all arcade is just slightly dumbed down realistic or slightly less realistic. Because all it does is just make it to where your plane or tank doesn't get, completely killed within the first 2 seconds of getting hit. And then it gives you a little bit of aid. And then realistic is kind of a mix between simulator and arcade, to where it's not where you still get some help, but for the most part, you get hit, you actually are gonna be in trouble. Then simulator battles is just straight up like, yeah, I wanna simulate actually being in the Air Force. I want to press every button in the cockpit, and then I want to fly the plane like it's supposed to be done, or something like that,
See,
which gets a little bit messy.
in War Thunder, I go. Sorry.
What
Yeah,
happened?
you guys hear the news? I just saw it right now. That came
What
out
happened?
today. Uh, it says Biden allows Ukraine to strike Russia with long-range U.S. missiles.
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, but yeah, I heard about that.
So they're going to be
Sounds like fun.
striking inside of Russia, like basically attacking Russia with our missiles. That's I don't know, man. I mean, if you're gonna approve that right now, like, why did you wait until after the election? Like, why would you change the policy? Like, this is just gonna fuck some shit up.
Good
I guess
question.
he's just gonna try to add some. He's just gonna try to add some turbulence for the next campaign at this point. But at the same time, I mean, it's just. I don't know. It's gonna be kind of weird because at this point he's in a lame duck phase where, obviously you already kind of lost, so you might as well just do what he wants to at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if he's like actually the one making the decisions though. Like, he's probably got people like controlling him at this point to like, to basically he'll do whatever they say, and obviously that's not really gonna be a good thing because we still got 2 more months left before the next dude becomes the president.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think Biden's gonna do anything questionable at this point. I think he's just gonna do maybe one or two things like that that's gonna catch the news' attention, but overall, it's just gonna kind of fade out of existence after the 2 months.
Dude,
Yeah.
I searched up his I searched up his name and I found some pictures on Google. This dude looks like old as fuck. Like, he's 81 right now, but he looks like he's like 97. Like, how is this dude our president right now? What the fuck?
Nah. Well, I mean, look at all of Congress and how old they are.
Yeah, I mean, we really need term limits for sure.
That would be yeah, that would be much appreciated. You know, we can't have people nearly the age of like the dinosaurs running the country.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yo, Alpha, your voice is like super like got some reverb going on. It's like sounds like an echo chamber.
yes, it's intentional.
What did you do?
I am in a cathedral. Maybe?
Dang,
Who
dude's in cathedral
knows?
mode for real.
You got that voice changer going on? You got that voice changer?
Yeah. Um,
Oh shit. Is that shit free?
um, for a few voices, if you want access to everything, you got to get Pro.
Well, you gotta get nitro or some shit?
Now, Pro, it's like, yeah,
I can't understand shit. It sounds like you're an alien.
and yo, it's Wagwan.
Oh my
This is
god.
Santa. Just sounds like
That's
AI
Santa.
voice.
You sound like you sound like a podcast host.
Dude,
Hello,
people are
welcome to
getting
the Inexperienced Experts podcast. Can this get any more amateur hour?
dude, why are people getting like so pissed off at like AI and shit? Like, I'm not too big of a fan of it, but like I see this thing on Daft Punk where the guys already broke up, so I don't know why they're still releasing shit. But they like released this AI upscaled thing of like one of their old anime things. It's got like all their fans pissed off, and I'm like, why? Because Daft Punk literally like sampled a bunch of shit like that wasn't even their own songs, and they call it their own, just adding like little pitch tweaks to it. Like if you look at the song, it's like harder, better, faster, stronger. It's literally just the song "Cola Bottle Baby" with some stupid voices in it. Like that's all it is. And they
I'm
call that
sorry,
shit
Dave.
sampling.
What?
I'm sorry, Mizuka. I can't do that.
I am so lost.
Well, I don't know. I feel like if you're not a fan of AI, it's like I get it, but like why you gotta be pissed off at every single thing that's like AI? Because AI can like do pretty cool things as well. You know, you gotta admit that.
Yeah, I think what most people are just mad about is that they fear that it's taking over the art. I mean, it's just the art community, really. Okay, I guess most people, but for most people in art community, they kind of think that it's just overtaking their art and making their art feel less valuable now that someone can type in a word prompt going for rewriting a bike versus them getting a commission for it. And to a point, yeah, I get that, but I think what's going to happen with AI that's eventually going to become an accepted tool, regardless. Just like how different, like just like how rock and roll was new in the 50s or 60s. You know, when Elvis came in and started doing that, multiple parents were mad. Then even in the 80s, when all these rock midwestern rock bands start to come out and put out all these songs, then those parents were mad. And I think what's going to happen here is kind of the same. You know, we're already seeing kind of AI music, AI art. People are eventually just going to have to learn to accept it because it's not really going to go away.
Yeah, what? I don't. Oh my god, you sound like a fucking transformer robot right now, Alpha. But like, I don't know. I feel like because I've made music in the past, and like I'm still like I quit making brand new music, but I still like to like go back and edit some of my old stuff every once in a while, because it's fun, and I like to make my stuff sound better. But I still think AI music, like that's, I feel like that's a pretty cool concept. Like seeing like what you can do with it exactly and how good you can make it sound. I don't get why like all the people that like in the art drawing community like they really hate all the AI stuff. It's like, why isn't that like cool to you guys as well? Because seeing how far like technology has come and like seeing what it can do, that really interests me. And you know, even AI music, like from the perspective of someone who's made my own music from scratch. Well, not technically from scratch. I used my own VSTs and synthesizers, so they technically weren't all like legit sounds that came from me. They were made by Roland Corporation, but in FL Studio. But you know, it is what it is. I feel like
Yeah.
AI music. Like I actually listened to some AI music one time, and it was like this rock song, and it was like, how did they make it sound like this? Like, how did the AI manage to do this? And that's just really cool to me. Like just seeing what it can do.
Well, I can see where they're coming from. Um, yeah. So you think about it. I draw art, and then some guy across the planet can type in you know, like draw me unicorn with rainbows in the background, and then they hit enter, and then we both enter into the same, art contest, and they managed to take first place with something an AI draw. I can see where people are getting ticked off by that, because then it's
Well,
like you didn't really draw it,
well,
but
yeah,
as like a tool of like, hey, let me use this for my own things. I'm not against it with that.
yeah. If you're gonna use AI to like cheat, then that's obviously not like something that's good. Like you can't just use whatever cheats you want in an online match of Mario Kart. Like this ain't 2009 right now. All right, this
Yeah,
ain't the days of all the hackers on the Wii just doing whatever they want to do. Like you gotta race legitly, and you know if not, then people aren't gonna like it. So
no, and that's where I'm thinking it's coming from. Is that, people are using it for like competitions and all that. And I can understand that. If you are using it to like make money and say, I made that. No, you didn't make that. The AI made that. But if you're saying, hey, I'm using AI to make this, and you're not going around being like, I made this. No, you didn't. You just typed words. The computer did all the work. So I can understand why people are mad. But at the same time, it's like, why are you mad at people using this for themselves?
dude,
Am I understandable?
I can't get over your like space esque voice. Like it just sounds like you're in outer space, like you're some alien type shit right now.
This is the guy with the visor in Daft Punk. It's his voice,
Oh, dude.
supposedly. And then
Oh,
here
yeah.
is this
That
is
does
the other
remind me of the
guy
Daft Punk.
from Daft Punk. Oh,
Kind of hard
yeah.
to understand a little bit.
Yeah, I recognize the Daft Punk, you know, kind of esque voice.
Yes. Um, but yeah, no, I can understand why people are mad about it. Because, if I was an artist and I entered a competition and I got second place, and the first place winner was this guy just entered a, AI generated image for, winning. And they pretty much said, hey, this guy did better. It's like, no, computer did better. You shouldn't be giving that guy the video. Yeah.
I mean, here's my take on it. Like, if you do, because I'm gonna kind of mix it here. If you do use it as a tool to make your art better, and it works out to be that way, then I think it's a form of art. Now, sure, it's not as high effort as the other ones, and sure, you shouldn't be using it in competitions. But I think I think the honesty of being saying, "Hey, I used AI to create this picture. If you can enter it in, and not even as a contest, maybe you can put it on your art profile and say, "Hey, this is art," without even having to ask, "Is this AI or not?" If people don't say, "Hey, this even looks like AI," and you can clearly come on and say, "Hey, I made this with AI. I typed in these words to this bot," then if people go, "Yeah, I like this," because that's all art is, and that's the part that's like kind of making me a little bit mad about it. It's like, okay, sure, but at the same time, you have to realize that this is just another form of art. Sure, it's
Yeah.
not as high effort as the other, but you still have to put an effort just to actually, figure out. Because some of these people sit here for hours tweaking the picture with just different prompts. And if you really think about it, what are you doing with a pencil and paper, or better yet, art things? I mean, even with digital art, we even go to different lengths using abbreviate tools that abbreviate what we even do now, like fill tools and layering and all that. And that's new techniques, but that's also, you can argue, a form of AI art, or a form of, a whole new direction that if you ask an artist who was on pen and paper would be like, I think that's cheating.
Yeah, see, like my viewpoint on it, the two is like, let's be honest, the AI generated art is just a new camera. Because when the camera came out, people said the same thing about the camera that they're saying about AI. So it's like, if you're using it to make money, or you're putting it in the competitions, to me that ain't okay. But like, so say you draw art and then use AI to enhance it, that's a whole different ball game, in my opinion. That's, you still drew the base image, you just use something to help brush up the edges.
Yeah, well, I think as it relates to the whole AI art versus human art, I don't think that AI art should be getting more attention than the human art. Like that should obviously be the one that should be getting more of the love. But then why is it that you have all the tool assisted speedruns, for whatever game it is, Mario Kart especially, those are the ones that always get the most attention, compared to the human RTA speedruns. And you got, the tool assisted speedruns, TASs is
Yeah.
the abbreviation. It's just basically people going frame by frame in their little emulator on their computer, doing whatever they want to do. And, in a game that runs 60 FPS, one frame is like nothing, basically. And they do that. They just sit on their computer all day, do whatever they want to do, like save state and all that. And they do some pretty insane stuff. But it takes no speedrunning talent, like RTA talent, to do that. Yet they're the ones getting all the attention and not like the actual RTA world records. It's like, why? And those are the same people that are like against AI art for some
Well,
reason.
well, I
It's like
mean,
the
okay.
same thing.
Well, I mean, okay, if you really think about it this way, art is objective to the person who views it. And that's the reason why art is always kind of controversial, no matter which way you look at it. And even just taking a side step, even from AI art to RTA or tool assisted speedruns, if you really think about art as a whole, it's unlike most other professions. Art is something that is trying to draw attention. And from the people it draws it from is going to be a large crowd. And despite what it's going to be, this is someone's emotions on paper. And the part that makes it so objectionable is that when someone puts their emotions on paper, it makes it hard to actually judge what the turnout's going to be. Because obviously, if you don't like it, you're going to hurt that person's feelings. But at the same time, if you do, then it's going to be like, great, that's going to make that person feel better. But at the end of the day, if you put your effort all the way into this piece of paper, into this computer, into this whatever, and it doesn't get the results that you want to, then it's going to make you feel hurt. Then you're going to go off and be like, hey, I don't think that this is fair that this guy over here who's doing this completely different form of art is getting more attention, even though they put less effort into it. But when you look at it, people are going to be drawn to what interests them the most, even if they're not in the art community. I enjoy watching the tool assisted speed runs because it's just cool. Sitting here watching Mario nearly just magically clip through everything that would have taken me a whole 10 to 20 minutes to finish. It's just quite impressive. And then that's where the problem comes in, because now you're sitting here going, well, I just sit here and enjoy it because I think it's cool, which is all right. But then the person who was sitting over here, like you said, Mizuki, saying that, oh, yeah, well, what about these guys over here that actually tried, who put in dozens of hours to perfect a speed run and then actually do it in real time with the actual controller in hand? And so now you're sitting here with the dilemma going, I think that this is cool, but it's not done in the way that it should be. And so in a way, we all would, in a way, for the art community to work at complete balance, we wouldn't have to look at it going, okay, AI art is bad, this art is good. No, we have to go, all right, let's give everyone a fair chance and let everyone realize, like you said, Mizuki, yeah, this form of art is cool. I also like this art because it's this cool. And kind of give everyone going, all right, if everyone can appreciate everyone else's art, then it becomes less of an issue.
Well, yeah, I definitely think that, tool assisted speedruns, they are really cool, and seeing what, the possibilities are within the limitations of the game. That's something that's really interesting to watch. But I just think, just like how I said AI art shouldn't be getting more attention than human art, it doesn't mean it shouldn't get any attention, but I just think that the humans' art should get more. The same thing applies with like human speed running. Like I would rather see what the humans could be able to do when it comes to speed running than some person on their computer going frame by frame for a bunch of hours. Like that doesn't really interest me as much as someone actually going through the speed run in real time and seeing how fast they can do it, you know?
Yeah. Um. Well, to be honest, just kind of going off topic, I think AR is going to fall into the same category as the monkey picture. If you remember where that monkey took a selfie, it's if you try to copyright AI art, it's not going to fly.
Are you saying like AI art shouldn't be copyrighted at all?
No, because it wasn't made by a human. The law is if it wasn't made by a human, it can't be copyrighted or protected by copyright law. That was the whole argument with the monkey selfie.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think you should still be able to use AI, because at the end of the day, it's going to end up coming down to AI is going to become a tool, regardless if you use it fully to create a picture or not. And once again, it's going to become another form of art.
Well,
Sure, it's completely not made by a human, but you still have to enter the prompt and still put in at least some effort. The part that's just going to be a little bit weird is A, how do you use it, and B, how clear or opaque are you going to be about, hey, I used AI art to make this. I think in the whole context of AI art, if you clearly make it clear saying, hey, I made this with AI, I typed in this prompt, this is what I did, do you like what I put out here? Then I think it would be fair game to be able to make it copyrighted, or at least make money off of it.
well, you could probably make money off of it, but the copyright would come down to like what the court systems say. Um, you know, like it's a double-edged sword because you couldn't copyright AI art, but by the same stroke, unless someone pulls some BS, a someone else can't take the image you AI generated and copyright it either. Um, you know, just it's a whole legal thing when it comes to copyright. And it is kind of stupid. Like, I think if you made art, and then let's just say you had AI enhance it, but you made the art, then that should be able to be copyrighted. You know, but like if you were just like, let me type in Snugglekin, and the computer made it 100% from scratch, that's a different story. Now, can you make money off of it? I'd say sure. Um, just, yeah. Ooh.
Actually, I just found your channel, Alpha. It took me
Yeah.
a while, but I had to go to Bub's channel, and he has like in the bottom of the home section of the channel on YouTube, it's got like it features other channels, and your channel is one of them. And that's how I found it. It says that you're live right now on YouTube,
So,
which is cool.
FG, guess what got
What's
recommended
up?
to me today?
What's up?
My War Thunder video.
Wow. So you're already breaking the algorithm.
Somehow. I don't know how, but yeah. It was only like 27th result.
Only 27th. Okay.
Only 27th.
Still pretty good though. The fact that it's getting recommended.
Yeah.
It says you have one single video, like actual like video upload, but all the rest of the stuff is like live streams.
Yeah. I don't do videos too often. I mean, I
You
have
just
more.
play the live streams.
Yeah. Well, like, when doing like War Thunder, I just found it easier. And like, especially with the podcast, but I might start recording more and just uploading videos.
Okay.
So, yeah. I'm just not good at editing. So, yeah.
This might be a little surprising, but I've actually never done like my own live stream. Like I've never actually streamed myself. Like I've been on other people's streams, obviously, but I've never done it like just me doing it personally. So that's always something that I've wanted to do. Like if I just managed to set one Mario Kart record or whatever on live stream, then that would be kind of hype, I think.
I think you could do it.
I'll be honest. All of the interesting stuff is not going to happen on the live stream because that's my
All the
experience. Like, look at
it's
this,
gonna happen off
FG.
stream.
Yeah, well, like, look
What?
at me and FG played War Thunder, and my computer wouldn't work, and all the interesting stuff happened.
What? Didn't you stream last night?
Yeah, I streamed last night. I mean, some interesting stuff happened, but
Also, a
not
lot
at
of
all like
interesting
that
stuff
night.
happened.
I
Is
mean,
it?
I got, well, oh man. Put
Well,
your,
people running into people.
put the video you sent up as a short. I'll do that.
Is it called?
Okay.
Is it called Streamer's Curse? That the
Probably.
interesting stuff doesn't happen on stream.
Probably. I mean, like, oh man, I'm so echoey.
Yeah. What the fuck is happening?
What happened?
I
What
don't
the
know.
fuck? Discord is
What?
in shambles again, I guess.
There you go. Still echo.
It's in shambles. It's like
I'm currently gave us.
I'm tired. I don't know why. I'm tired of seeing my Mario Kart records get beaten.
You decided to wait until now to say that?
I'm so lost.
Yeah, I think this is amateur hour for sure. The title did not lie.
Oh yeah,
No.
amateur Mario Kart hours.
amateur podcast at our.
Dude, I'm like so pissed right now at Nintendo for not releasing a brand new console Mario Kart game for over 10 years and they still have nothing. Like they haven't announced anything. They're supposed to announce the brand new Switch like successor, but they didn't really announce it. All they just said was that it's going to be a thing, but there's no like official trail or whatever. And if you think about it, Mario Kart 8 that came out in May 2014, and since then pretty much nothing has happened as it relates to like actual new Mario Kart games. I mean, you had Mario Kart Deluxe, okay, that doesn't really count. Even if they had the booster course pass in it, I mean that has new tracks, but that's basically just like CTGP for Mario Kart 8. That's not like an actual new game. That's just, an add-on for it with new tracks. It's still the same game as the original Mario Kart 8. And then you got Mario Kart Tour, which is a stupid mobile gotcha game that's, I guess, that ended anyway. That they're not even like continuing that. And that was like not even a good game. And then they had that Mario Kart Live Home Circuit thing, which was just a toy. It's like, come on, Nintendo, you gotta do better than this. And in that same amount of time, since Mario Kart 8 has released, I'm not sure when the original Splatoon came out for the Wii U, but if it came out afterwards, they made 3 more Splatoon games, like completely different games, all Splatoon since then, but no brand new Mario Karts. It's like for real, Nintendo.
Yes.
And I'm just waiting for
And
that
don't.
next new console Mario Kart game to come out because I'm just bored. I have to resort to playing freaking outside drifting bikes in Mario Kart Wii because I'm just bored. Like Mario Kart 8 doesn't interest me at all, or Mario Kart Deluxe, I should say. Even though that's still like the new game that everyone's been playing. I don't like it. I don't like the game's physics engine that much. Even though it's like less glitchy and everything, it's just too polished to the point where it's like not that fun to control or anything like
Well,
that.
oh, sorry.
You keep on changing your voice, Alpha.
Yeah. Should I find one I go like? So, FG Musica. Skip Musica or War Thunder. So we consider our own E4 Mafia.
What?
E4 Mafia?
E4 Mafia.
What is that?
Are you talking about like gaming?
No,
Like
so, can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know too much about the military, but apparently there's, like, I think E4 is, like, listed in rank 4. I'm not sure what rank it is, but apparently there's an E4 Mafia. It's, like, the main him.
I've never heard of it.
So, we're also petty officers, so we're doing nothing because none of us are in the military.
Oh.
Yes, here. Well, man. I figure we're on the college station.
Do you guys what's your guys' opinion on FNAF, like Five Nights at Freddy's? Because they're like making a bunch of new games. Like they're actually making a kart racing game for it, which they released a demo or whatever it is for it over the summer, and it was like super glitchy. Like it even topped the glitchiness of Security Breach when that game came out, like the first release of it. It was just like a mess, and it somehow topped that in terms of how like broken it was. So I mean, it was just a demo, so hopefully they'll like get a bunch of stuff fixed with it for when it actually releases. It's supposed to release in 2025, but who knows at what point in that year.
Well, I'm not against FNAF. I like the new games. I mean, some people are against it. But I was telling my thing on it is like glitchiness. I mean, look at how many games come out that are glitchy messes. You know.
Well, I think it's just like, I don't know. I think Security Breach like really got me like invested in the whole franchise again. Like before, like me and Bub used to be into it. Like we would play FNAF games like during study halls in school, like whenever they would let us, in bands, in the band room study halls, we would play FNAF on our phones. And that was always a good time. But then I kind of fell out of it, out of the whole thing for like several years until I saw Security Breach, because when that game came out, I was just like, oh my god, this is so cool. You're just walking around this gigantic mall and you got animatronics chasing you. It's so fun. And then ever since that, like I've just kind of like re-got into the franchise with the help of Bub, because he like showed me all the games and all that stuff. But I don't know. I'm really hoping that this FNAF kart racer is going to be good. It's got some cool gimmicks. Like it's got this. It's kind of like a Mario Kart spin-off, or I'm not gonna say rip-off, but I'll say spin-off. It's got like the blue shell sorta, where it's got like this animatronic that like jump scares you, and it attacks the other racers and it jump scares them in the middle of the race, which is a pretty cool thing.
That's
I
crazy.
think. Yeah, and I hope it has online time trial leaderboards too, because I would be all over those, assuming I even get good at the game, which isn't a guarantee considering I think it's going to be a PC exclusive game at first. Like it'll probably first release on the PC and then on consoles. So if I'm going to like be getting good at it, I'm going to either have to wait until it comes on the Switch or Switch 2 or whatever the fuck it's going to be, or I'm going to have to get a controller hooked up to my laptop, assuming it can even run the game like it's supposed to. But yeah, I'm not too big on PC gaming in the first place. But they said it's going to release on consoles, so I guess I could just wait for that.
Come on. Join the PC Master Race.
The PC Masters. I would, but there's no Mario Kart games on the PC. Nintendo doesn't have anything. Do they even have any games like that are PC? Like Nintendo just doesn't do that, right?
I don't think so.
They just release their stuff for consoles, like their own consoles and stuff.
It's called Enforce. What the heck? Demand.
What?
You want to play a Mario Kart game? You gotta get a Nintendo system to play a Mario Kart game.
Yeah.
Therefore, you raise up console sales.
Yeah, that does make sense. But then you have Sega, which I guess they don't make their own consoles anymore, but they used to, and now they have their games like all on PC. Like you got Sonic games for the PC as well as on other consoles.
Well, Sega kind of turned away from being a console maker after the Dreamcast and just became
wonder
a
why.
game publisher. Yeah, Dreamcast was a failure. I mean, it's not a bad console, but just people like the way the PlayStation did 3D graphics better. So,
I've actually never owned like any consoles besides like Nintendo ones. Like I was always interested in getting a PS Vita for some reason, but then again, I couldn't really think of any games that I really want to get for it besides like Gravity Rush, or like maybe they had some Sonic games on there. I'm not really
Wait,
sure. Or like
was
Pac-Man
Gravity Rush
Racing,
that game with like the cool space cars?
Space Cars.
Oh, I'm thinking different. There's like another game that had like these really cool floating space cars on it, or kind of like it was like space racing where you like raced in stuff similar to like the speeders in Star Wars, but
No, it wasn't a racing game. It was like a platforming adventure game where like you just gravity is like crazy and you like fall down all this stuff. It was really cool, but it was only on the PS Vita, if I can remember, and that's why I wanted to get it, but I never did get it.
It's
So,
on the PlayStation 4 now, too.
oh, it is.
Yeah.
Well, I've never had a PlayStation, but my GF
Probably.
does. She has a PS5 here, and I was thinking about getting her Astro Bot because that's like a new game that's like really similar to, people are comparing it to Mario Galaxy, which is a really good series of games, and it's like people are saying it's really good. So I was thinking about maybe getting her that, but then again, I've never actually owned my own PlayStation console.
Yeah. See, I'm gonna be honest, because, like, I got the Xbox Series X this year. I like Xbox better than PlayStation now. And then you got Legendary Skittles talking about they're not gonna be making consoles anymore.
Xbox isn't going to be making consoles for
According to,
Microsoft.
according to Legendary. Because he keeps griping at me, and she's heard it, he keeps griping at me every chance he gets about getting a Series X. Right? You know what you're talking about?
Yeah.
But you know, PlayStation's nice, just I've kinda gotten tired of Sony. I'm sure if Xbox was winning, it'd be the same case with Xbox.
Hmm.
You still there, FG?
yeah.
Okay. Making sure that we're not gonna have to do a medevac.
A medevac?
Gonna have to white light you.
What?
Get the helicopter pilot.
You sound like a space pilot, like an alien right now.
Let me see. I got pilot. I got pilot. Pilot.
You got your pilot's license?
I don't have my pilot license. I just sound like pilot.
Oh yeah.
Shit over. Even tells if it's on music. The landing in the Hudson.
Dude, my toe is really like hurting right now. It actually, I broke it. I think when I was at work, I like stubbed it on a pallet at work, and then like it just progressively started hurting more and more like over the next week until it finally like just like broke, and I had to get taped up and stuff. It's like bothering me so much. And this happened like I can't remember exactly. I think it might have been like the very beginning of this month that happened. And now it's just finally gotten to a point where it's really bad.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
So,
But it is supposed to recover though. Like it'll just eventually get unbroken. I
yeah,
don't know too much about it.
it will. I broke a finger. I used to work at that one place catching zip lines, And the one time I caught one wrong, and my finger went like back 90 degrees, and oh man, did that feel good. Um, Turned black and blue, everything broke it. It'll heal, just it might be a bit broken, because that's my finger's crooked. Like next time we meet, I can show you. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, so not to change the subject, but I got into a new game for my VR headset.
Which one is that?
Blades and Sorcery.
Oh,
I really like it. I don't know. There's something about sword combat I like. Though I keep stabbing myself.
that's not fun.
So I'll be like, why is my vision turning red? And I'm like, oh, I accidentally took the sword through myself.
That's not
Uh,
important.
yeah. I only need to eat apples. This kind of makes me think of like a VR version of Skyrim.
What they're going for.
Yeah, it really is. Oh man. Uh, I think I told you. I don't. Did I tell you about it, Misaka?
Um, I don't remember.
Um. So I got a MetaQuest free.
Oh, is that like a VR thing?
Yeah. Um. So I think Bub has the MetaQuest 2,
Okay.
and I was looking at the MetaQuest free S, and I said, oh well, for an extra $10 a month, I could get the free. I might as well get the free with the 528 gigabytes.
I'd
Yeah.
say the 3 is pretty cool since you can actually like do pass through and all that much more efficiently than the 2.
Yeah, and then like, why does the well, I know why the Pro exists, but why does the Pro exist?
Honestly, I don't even know.
Because I mean, it's like the free has better graphics. The only thing that the Pro has on the free is a better internal battery, but it's like it's not even that much better.
Hmm.
Yeah, I I don't know. Because I think yeah, the Pro has like half the memory as the free too.
What kind of like how many games can you even like play with it?
With the Pro or the free?
Just whatever the one you got.
I think just about any. Like I know so far I played VR Chat, Job Simulator, um, Blades and Sorcery, and then I got Rec Room.
How is
So
um how is like VR chat? I know it has like this pretty big community going on with it, right?
it's fun, though I'm gonna be honest, it's one of those games it's better playing with friends than by yourself.
Oh yeah.
Um,
You might run too many old woes out there.
Oh
yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. Oh well.
Oh
Yeah.
whoa.
Get FG on VR Chat. Join Bunny. Come on, FG. You know you want to.
Maybe.
You.
I'll think about it. I might, if anything, I might get on the PC first. Just like I said, on the
Yeah.
VR, I get way too motion sick, and I just don't feel like going through the process of trying to. Because I mean, I think I could get over it, but by the time I get over it, I probably almost have thrown up like several different times, and I had to take a whole day to recuperate from not trying to throw up and get like a headache.
So with me, like, so say I get like a brand new like VR game. The most I feel is like maybe a little bit of dizziness at first, just because it takes a little bit of getting used to moving around without moving, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it's like you're running around doing things, but you're not running around doing things. Um, but then like right after that passes, I'm fine. I don't get motion sickness, nothing, and I don't know. Like I said, my siblings, they both got motion sickness, but for whatever reason, it never affected me. So,
Yeah, I always get motion sickness like in the car whenever I try to look at my phone for too long sometimes, or like when I was younger I would try to play like my 3DS or whatever in the car and I just couldn't do it because I would just get way too motion sickness. But whenever I would play, like the very few times I've actually been on a plane, whenever I would play like my my uh my handheld consoles, like I wouldn't get motion sickness at all.
yeah,
But in the car it's so bad.
yeah, see, like I don't experience, I think the worst motion sickness I got was on the cruise ship when you're
Oh yeah,
inside and you can't see nothing and it's like moving around. But that was,
yeah. I've only ever been on one of those, like summer of 2012, I think. I went on a cruise to the Bahamas and the power actually went out on the ship. Like I think we were docked. I can't remember exactly. Like we were docked when we arrived to the Bahamas, and then we were like stuck there for many more hours than we should have been. I think it's just a blur because it was over 12 years ago. But I remember the one thing that was still working on the ship when the whole power, like electrical systems were all out. The ice cream machine was still working, like for some reason, and I was able to just keep on going back to the ice cream to get more. It was so good.
hey, that crew had their priorities straight.
Yeah.
Don't
They're
need
already better than
toilets,
McDonald's.
don't don't need toilets, don't need that, don't have food, but hey, McDonald's, our ice cream machine works. Bite us.
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
never been on a cruise again after that. They did actually have like their own gaming like lounge area thing in there, and I would like they didn't have any, like there was no Mario Kart in there, I think. Not that I can remember, but I do remember playing like some Need for Speed game in there. It was kind of cool. I don't remember what the game actually was, like what console it was on. It was probably on like Xbox or something. Some Xbox Need for Speed game. But
Yeah. See,
yeah, I mainly just spent time on that cruise just eating ice cream and playing my 3DS.
see, I like the cruise. Ours went to the Bahamas and then a couple other stops. But what am I thinking? Um, I lost my thought. Yeah, nothing happened on the cruise ship really. Besides burgers being overdone. Oh, I did make a mistake. Don't eat seafood on a ship. Um, Worst seafood I've ever had. They cooked in a microwave.
What?
Everything on the cruise ship's cooked in a microwave.
What kind of cruise ship did you go on?
Carnival?
Oh,
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 I
that might
was
be
on a
why.
Carnival cruise too.
Everything was cooked with a microwave, and I was like, "Oh man!" Like the
So
food,
all the
it's
ones I've been on is like Royal Caribbean and Norwegian, which are like I think of one Disney one too. But that one was all of them were decently well, except for one of them with food. One of them was just terrible with food. Fun cruise, terrible food.
like they had like good like the buffet food, and then the burgers they cooked on the grill, which the cooks they had, it's like they had like one set of cooks that are like the best cooks I've ever seen. Made real good burgers, and then the second set they had come out. The local hockey team rejected the puck because it was too hard.
Dang.
Uh, you know, but it was like good. Like the food was good, just that seafood was horrible. Like the fish was starting to go bad. It was starting to rot, and it's like, but ever that, like, and then the whoever cooked that squid did not know how to cook squid. But then like the clams and the shrimp were delicious. Then again, I love shrimp. I'm like an orca when it comes to shrimp.
I was thinking of aviation jokes when you said orca. An obstacle route. Wait. Yeah, an obstacle route clearance altitude? No way.
Well, then, just because you said that, I'm going to strategically locate, or what is it? Strategically transport a piece of equipment to an alternate location, your computer.
Okay, and how are you gonna do that?
Spell out with the first letter of each word of that.
Alright, hold on. Say it again.
Strategically transport a piece of equipment to an alternate location.
Strategically transport a P.
So, strategically transport equipment to an alternate location.
You gotta spell this one out. I do not have the brain power to figure that out.
Okay, strategic starts with S.
Okay.
Locate starts with L.
Okay.
Equipment starts with E.
Alright.
Alternate starts with A.
Uh-huh.
Location starts with L.
Stanley? I don't know. Bruh.
Steel. It's steel.
Oh, you're gonna.
Strategically
Yeah,
transport piece of equipment to an alternate location.
bruh, that's way too much to think about right now.
It's F. Oh man, FG. I know what your brain's doing right now. I know exactly what your brain. Let me get this. Let me get this. Hang on.
Yo, Alpha.
Just close your eyes, okay?
Oh wait, no, that ain't. Yes, Mizuka.
All right. I kind of forgot about this because I like couldn't even believe that this was happening. But why are they Six Flags? Like, what is their management doing? Because they just they're removing, like, apparently they're demolishing King Ka, like, from their park. I think it's Six Flags Great Adventure. I never got to go there. But like,
So,
because Top Thrill Dragster would never be the same, I was like thinking that I would eventually make my way out to that, wherever that is. I think it's in New Jersey, Six Flags Great Adventure. I can't remember because Kingda Ka is like, it's like Top Thrill Dragster. It's got that same kind of hydraulic launch, and it's like even taller, barely. But now
yeah.
Top Thrill Dragster is not even the same. It doesn't have that same like forceful launch that it used to.
So, what Six Flags is basically doing, from what I can tell and what they've announced, is they're only going to be keeping their Six Flags Legacy parks open, and then they're going to close the rest of their parks and then rely solely on Cedar Fair parks.
For
Um,
real?
yeah, so Six Flags and Cedar Fair are one company now. They
Really?
merged. It's the same company. I'm surprised it's not considered a monopoly, but that's besides the point. But yeah, it's one company, so they are going to keep, from what Six Flags announced and what I've heard, they're going to keep the legacy parks open, and then all the ever Six Flags are just getting shut down and getting the axe.
Well, I also heard that they were like removing Kingda Ka and another coaster to like make room for a new record-breaking launch coaster in 2026. So I don't think that's one of the parks that's going to be shut
Probably
down.
not though. King Nakaf, if I remember correctly, and I may be wrong. Someone was telling me they had similar problems to what Top Frill Dragster had, and it could be they're just getting rid of it to put in something new that they think ain't going to have constant problems. Because I mean, like, so the thing is, Musica, like, relook at something and re-see, okay, this is super forceful, this is super fun, people love this. Bean counters look at that and they count beans. Pretty much when it comes to bean counters, if the cart ain't before the horse, upside down, on fire, underwater, and remember that it's got to be on fire underwater, they ain't happy.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, I don't
Um,
understand why, you know, Cedar Fair is like reluctant to work with Intamin again. Because, yeah, I know they had that whole shoot the Rapids debacle, and that was kind of like the last straw with Cedar Fair and Intamin. I mean, it was terrible what happened with it, but they need to look at Intamin and like what they've been doing since then. They've been making reliable, really amazing roller coasters. Like, I think it was called like Velocicoaster in whatever park that opened at. I think it was like a Disney park that opened.
yeah.
It's like really reliable, they say, and it's really really good.
Well,
Um, and so they've gotten more reliable. So why can't they just come in and like tell Intamin to like help out with Top Dragster or King Ka and make the launch system or whatever that was having problems, make it more reliable. Like that
they
would cost much, much less than completely demolishing the coaster and making some brand new record coaster in its place, That's
so
not going to really resonate with the fans of that coaster.
so part of this too is what they're kind of going for is they're kind of going for the casual amusement park goer, not so much the coaster enthusiast. So, like me and you look at it and we're like, we really like this coaster because it's very forceful and all that, and we love it. And I think what they're going by, and again, bean counters are probably the driving force of this, is sure, we could revamp King Ka, put a better drop launch system in, have Intamin work with us, but then you're still going to have people that remember King Ka for what it was. And even if you do that, let's be honest, someone's going to be ticked off. Um, it's just a fact of the matter, and I think bean counters are going by, well, let's put in a new coaster and get that whole new coaster drive of everyone's wanting to ride the new coaster. Um, but no, it is stupid, but bean counters don't think like normal people.
Are you
If
talking
they
about like the company like executives that like make the decisions?
company executives and accountants, bean
Yeah.
counters, they
Well, I mean, if they want to remove their own coaster, I mean, like, go ahead. That's their own thing that they, own or whatever. But like, they didn't even give it a proper send off. Like, they just announced that it would never reopen, after the season. It's like, I guess it's not as bad as what happened with Top Door Jackson because they like, that just abruptly shut down after the accident and it never was the same after that. At least King Ka, like they operated throughout the season in its entirety, but they
yeah.
didn't say anything. Like they didn't let people know that it was gonna be like that it wasn't gonna be there any longer after that.
Um, no, and so I think because Six Flags was kind of already in the process of revamping, and I mean their CEO kind of already has shown that he wasn't exactly the not the smartest, but he wasn't exactly the best when it came to what people wanted. But like that's what I think they're thinking though is new coaster brings in more people, it's a vamp because we can all agree you build a brand new roller coaster, it's got at least a good year of like a bunch of people coming in to ride it, because it's new.
Let's say how old was King Dakar?
I don't think it's that old because it was built Top Frill Drags.
2005.
Yeah, so it ain't that old because Top Frill Dragster is built no free. And then the other side of things that could be going with it is they could be having flashbacks to Top Frill too because now it's one company, Cedar Fair, and that could be the reason why. A
I
whole
guess if it gets, I guess if it gets to that point, like you said, with just kind of replacing it. Sure, it kind of hurts, unfortunately, but like you said, I think they're just trying to make new memories at this point and kind of move away. But at the same time, I've never really been to that park, so I can't really say much on what they're trying to do.
well, it's I'm not going based off what I know. I'm going based off of what I've seen in the past and what I've seen in because I used to work in the I know Mizuka did too, but I used to work in the entertainment industry. And what a lot of these people do is instead of taking something that's old and revamping it, because what ends up happening is you take something, you revamp it, and then you got people that are in the community that really love this thing are the ones that are going to be like, okay, cool, let's try it. It's new, it's revamped, and they'll love it, or they'll hate it because then it goes 50-50 both ways. But then the other side of that is you revamp it and then you got like 100 people that remember what it was and are like, I'm not going on that broke down a million times and I'm going for like a coworker of mine refuses to ride Top Frill 2 because every time he got in line for Top Frill it broke down. And I think King Ka had similar problems to Top Frill 2, not as often as Top Frill 2, but I think someone was telling me it had similar problems to Top Frill 2. um so and if I remember correctly, maybe they've changed the launch system. When Top Thrill was being built, the launch system Intamin originally wanted to use that was tried and tested was uh pretty much going to have to remove Gemini and Maverick out or Magnum out. I want to say it was Gemini and Magnum. I think
I
so.
think it was just Gemini, but I mean, there's no reason that Intamin, like, why would they have to remove Gemini? Like, that's completely out of the way of what they should have been able to do. Like, what they ended up doing with Top Throw 2 anyway is just revamp the whole launch thing and make it like I don't know if it's called a swing launch or whatever. It's got that backwards spike thing
Yeah.
now.
Well, I think it's a
I mean,
catapult launch now, probably. But like, so when Top Thrill was made, the launch system they originally wanted to use was going to be like an air catapult, and because it was going to be an air catapult to have enough force to take the car up the hill and back down, it would have had to been going all the way to where Gemini is at. And Cedar Point was like, no, you can't remove Gemini. That's still one of our major coasters. Uh, so then they were like, hey, we got this experimental hydraulic launch system, which has all kinds of problems because the computer, I think, with calculating the weight of the car and all that. And then like the one they got now, I think, which is already obsolete, is the magnetic one that Maverick uses. I want to say it's magnetic.
yeah, I think so.
Um, but yeah, no, and I think that's it. And it could be Intamin probably said the same thing because Intamin originally Cedar Point did approach Intamin for Top Frill 2 because they were like, hey, you guys built it, you guys got the specs, why don't you build it? Intamin was like, okay, cool, we'll build it, but if we need the space to build it, we're going to have to remove Iron Dragon. And Cedar Point was like, no, everyone loves Iron Dragon. It's always broken down.
Oh yeah, they proposed it to remove Iron Dragon instead of Gemini this time around, right?
Yeah. For
Okay, because they wanted to extend the layout, didn't they?
Yeah, so when they built it was when they like this '03 was when they wanted to remove. So they wanted to extend it because the whole vertical spike and all that and excuse me, Cedar Point, and what am I thinking? They were for it until they heard Iron Dragon had to be go because Iron Dragon's a good family coaster in their opinion, and I mean, if you're scared of roller coasters, it's a decent coaster to get on. But if you're like into roller coasters, I would not get on Iron Dragon to save real just because it's not. It's a good family coaster, but it's not a fun coaster if that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, but like, how long are they willing to really keep Iron Dragon? Because that coaster is from like what? I don't know if it's from the 70s, but it's definitely no younger than the 80s. Like, I'm gonna look it up right now. It's probably was made in like the mid 80s, and it's like those aerodynamics coasters. Those coasters are like, it's hard to like
Ancient.
even find the parts to like maintain them at this point because the company went bankrupt or whatever. Like, I think in like 2001.
So the company that bought them, I can't remember. They manufacture parts still for them. I'm sure it's at an increased rate. But I mean, like, if we're
It's
talking about,
1987, by the way, so it's almost 40 years old.
yeah, but like, if we're talking like older coasters, like Maverick, Magnum does kill me on like the bunny hills at the end, but Magnum is way better than Iron Dragon, in my opinion. So I can understand someone being like, let's not take out Magnum, but I don't understand them being with Iron Dragon. I don't know. Maybe there's someone in like Cedar Fair executives that really loves Iron Dragon. Uh,
Yeah, I don't care too much for Iron Dragon. Like, they do have like, I mean, I still think Gemini is a decent family coaster. It is, taller than most conventional family coasters. I think it does it go above 100 feet?
I think
I
yeah,
can't remember.
200, 200. It's a hyper
It,
coaster.
no, it's not 200. It's like
Oh,
120 or
150,
something. Let
120,
me see.
130.
Gemini Heights coaster. I'm looking it up. Um, it is. Why doesn't it say? Oh, okay. It's 125 feet,
Okay, so
but I still consider it a family coaster because it doesn't really have that kind of like intense layout. I mean, it is pretty intense at the very end, but that's the most of it is like a family coaster. It's just a little taller than most conventional ones. And it's got like that family coaster element to it where it's like you got the two trains and you can like high five each other.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say Sierra Point should be all for keeping that one. But I mean, Iron Dragon, that's just like, I don't know. I don't really see it worth it to like go on that. It's very old. It's not too fun. Like, I'd rather just take the sky ride that goes over the midway rather than doing that because that's
Yeah.
like more fun to me.
Well, like I said, Maverick's fun, Magnum's fun, but Iron Dragon, I don't know. Someone must really like that one in Cedar Fair executives, but they went with that Ever Company, whatever the heck the name is. I'm not big in the coaster community.
Zamperla.
Yeah, them.
Zamperla.
I like riding roller coasters. I'm just not a coaster enthusiast because apparently you can't be self-proclaimed. You got to be accepted by the community to be a coaster enthusiast. Uh, don't ask me how that works.
Said you have to be accepted in a community to be a coaster enthusiast.
Apparently, because even if you know everything there is to know about coasters, you love coasters, you breed coasters, you're still not a coaster enthusiast, and if you call yourself a coaster enthusiast, they get mad.
Okay, that's some BS right there.
Like, don't ask me how that works. Just, yeah,
I
they
mean,
get
is it
mad.
like, do you have to like be like the best of the best in like
Well,
mathematics to be a mathematician or whatever?
I don't know, but yeah,
Because like
no,
you can still be one even if you're like not like, I don't know, Albert Einstein or whatever.
yeah, I I don't know how it works for him, but somehow, some way, someone said that's how we're going to do it. But yeah, no, yeah, I don't know, just yeah. All right.
He said, I think yeah, Vacomo took over Arrow. Like they have their old assets and everything, right?
Yeah.
But
What?
still, like those coasters, those old Arrow coasters, like especially Corkscrew, like I think they should keep Magnum because that was like really groundbreaking. Like the first 200 feet full circuit hypercoaster,
So
like the original hypercoaster. They should keep that. But I mean, Corkscrew, like that's just, I get it was the first to go upside down 3 times, but it's just so old. I don't really think anyone really likes it.
hey, I like it though. Then again, I really love rough old roller coasters. Um,
Okay.
I'm just like I love Blue Streak because it's rough.
Well, yeah, Blue
So,
Streak, I would consider that to be a much better roller coaster than Corkscrew.
but like, so my thing with corkscrew is remove it. So I could definitely see someone putting like not a monument or like a plaque or something just to be like, you know, um, Magnum. If you remove Magnum, I definitely say they'd throw because that is a major groundbreak in coaster technology.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, for full
I
circuit.
mean, at the same time, I don't really know what they could really replace or not Blue Streak. They better not replace Blue Streak. I don't know what they could really replace Corkscrew with, like if they did remove it. But I mean, it's so old. They gotta do it at some point, you
Well,
know?
so the person who is the CEO of Cedar Fair right now apparently is someone who came from Disney, and they're trying to make Cedar Fair parks more like Disney parks, which Cedar Fair tried to do this in the past, and when Cedar Fair tried to do this in the past, they went bankrupt and almost got turned into a housing development until like two guys are like smoking something together and said, "Hey, what if we, instead of turning this into housing development like we planned, what if we try to make this park successful and somehow brought Cedar Point back to life?" You know, like Cedar Point was bankrupt, and someone apparently did not learn that lesson from the past that, hey, you can't out Disney. You're better off like where Cedar Point really found their strong point was trying to make the tallest, fastest, and best coasters. And really, I'd say just stick with that, but apparently they're not going to that. They're trying to go Disney World route.
Mm.
So,
Yeah, I mean, most people don't even really go to Cedar Point to like go on like as a family trip. They go to
no.
like ride the biggest coasters out there, you know?
Yeah, well, and it's like, I mean, I've met family people, but it's like the people that are going as a family might go like once, and then they're going to Orlando. Though everyone I've talked to, and this is the thing, is Cedar Fair needs to wake up and realize their formula works. Everyone I've talked to has told me Orlando and Disney World is not as good as Cedar Point, that they'd rather go to Cedar Point because Cedar Point makes thrilling rides. And it's like they need to realize that, like, hey, uh, we're not a family destination in the traditional sense. We're a family destination in the fact that we're a place people can go and have fun and have a thrilling experience. And it's, I mean, for people that don't like that, you got the smaller rides, you got the, your ground rides and all that, flat rides. So, but yeah, I don't know.
The one flat ride that I think they shouldn't, like, that I was upset that they removed was the witch's wheel. Like, I remember going on that, I think in like 2016, and it was really fun. Like, I enjoyed that thing. I don't know how many people other than me actually did, but I don't
Yeah,
know. I just miss it. It was right in front of I think it was in front of Gemini, and it was like right by Magnum too.
yeah.
It was like right there. And it was like also really cool to watch too. 'Cause it's this giant wheel just spinning around and going upside down.
So, you have any topics you want to bring to the table, FG?
None on my mind right now.
All right. Uh, how long have you been streaming?
Let me check.
I think
110 minutes.
I've been here for over what, an hour, I
Yeah.
think.
So, all right. I think I'm gonna be getting close to ending this.
All right.
Alrighty.
Well, folks, this has been the inexperienced yeah, yeah, inexperienced experts podcast episode 4. Um, I think we met amateur hour.
Oh, what the?
I think Dust wants to play or Thunder.
Yeah, I can tell.
Um,
What was this podcast called again? Amateur experts or something?
inexperienced experts. This episode I titled it "Inexperienced Experts for Canvas Get More Any More Amateur Hour."
Okay.
All right.
Big
Well,
brain.
YouTubers, this has been the Inexperienced Experts podcast, episode 4. Everyone have a good night and good luck out there. Bye.
Bye bye.